Hey, I haven't really prepared anything. I was going to speak off the cuff, and I could splinter into 1,000 different directions right now because this argument is all-encompassing. It has set fire to half of our dictionary and the foundations of all our understanding of how the world works. So it's easy to just roll the dice, pick a topic, and point out some collisions there. Today's a little bit interesting because we have a rainbow flag parading around behind us, and that flag used to, well, part of it at least, used to represent everybody. It was used for gay rights and the gay pride parades of the 1970s and 80s. I lived through some of the worst homophobia stuff back in the 90s. Maybe it wasn't as bad, I didn't get beaten to death, but the Matthew Shepard incident happened in 1996. This kid was met in a gay club, lured outside by some straight guys, and then crucified on a barbed wire fence. I know what it's like to live in fear of being found out of being gay. It's not pleasant. I can give you the shortest summary in the world. It's not very nice. But I can remember going back to when I first came to Brisbane. I was sent to a private boarding school, all boys, and the worst thing in the world that you could be to lose all social credit was to be called gay. And I know what that was like, and I remember quite vividly the music that was in the charts at the time. I can remember Guns N' Roses' Lies, that album was out, and it had lyrics in it like immigrants and faggots, they make no sense to me. That was a few years after Dire Straits and their number one hit, the little faggot with the earring and the makeup. Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. That little faggot's got his own jet airplane. That little faggot, he's a millionaire. Money for nothing. Yeah, that was a number one song. So the wallpaper in the background of society, it was very, very clear that being gay was the worst thing in the world. And I lived through that, and I still carry a lot of that baggage, so I've got a lot of internalized homophobia, and I know what that conflict is like. But I do know that, the tiny divide we have here, there's that flag over there. I like to think that people on this side kind of get it, and I don't detect an awful lot of homophobia on this side of the fence. Weirdly, that flag is now one of the most homophobic symbols out there. And I tried to have a discussion with one of these skinheads before, who a pro-gay rights, pro-LGBT skinhead. I'm so confused trying to wrap my head around that. But I tried to have a little conversation there before, and I was given basically the gay 2.0 talking points. We accept everybody, you guys must hate certain minority groups, so therefore we're on the right side of history and we have some moral superiority and a flag to wave, and we're going to try and make you feel bad. Guess what? You have no moral high ground whatsoever. Like, genuine homosexuals don't want to be erased by this Trojan horse that the T is. Thanks very much. I feel so that you have no idea why you're over there and why you're wearing that flag. I don't think you guys know what you stand for, and that's okay, because our media has failed us so spectacularly. It really sucks that we are doing the job of what ABC should be doing, but they're too captured to actually have these conversations. We want to chase all of this stuff back to language and its meanings, ideas and their origins, trans when it was invented, non-binary when it was invented. You have to know names like John Money and Jamie Shoup. You have to know where this stuff comes from so you can go, hang on a sec, does that actually make sense?
No.
Do you want to just examine some of that? Because weirdly, before SBS got captured, it was about 20 years ago, I watched a documentary about, it was about John Money, and it was about David Reimer, and that poor kid who, through some failed operation, had his penis removed, and through the logic of John Money, was told that, don't worry, all kids are a blank slate. We can just raise your son, who's now lost his genitals, as a girl. It'll work out fine. This experiment ran for quite some time. People are still referring to it. I watched this documentary on SBS back before it was captured, and it highlighted the horrors and the evil pseudoscience, that the logic just wasn't there. And before David Reimer killed himself, he made sure to be... He found out that this documentary was being made. He found out that John Money was still being hailed as some sort of success story. He managed to, in his own words, highlight what a hell he had been through and what a horrendous experiment it was, how gender and our sense of sex roles, to a large degree, is innate. It's built into us. We are born as we are born. Nobody's born in the wrong body. All of this stuff needs to be said, but SBS has failed so spectacularly, and to be doing it thinking they have any kind of moral superiority makes me sick. Yeah, it's a mess. I'd love for this to clean up. This shouldn't be my job on a Sunday. This is what the media is supposed to do, but hey, thanks for listening.